morning. Honorable State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Paduchu, Director for Basic Education, Mr. Ismail Molindwa, media, friends in the media, parents, guardians, the private sector, and children in Uganda. Today is a good day. Today is a happy day, and today is a safe day. Since Monday, schools in Uganda are open. After a difficult and challenging time for families and children worldwide, Uganda is ready to go back to school. Today, all children can and must return to school. If you are a parent or guardian in any district in the country, anywhere in Uganda, today is the day to take your children back to school, back to learning, and back to a safe environment for all. All children are welcome back to school today. If you are a young person who has had a baby, if you are a child with a disability, if you are a young boy working in a quarry or out fishing with your father, today you can return to school. The government, the Ministry of Education, district education officials, your community, your family, and all of civil society and donor partners are here today to help you return to school safely. Today, the Ministry of Education and Sports and the government of Uganda is launching the National Back to School campaign. We are thrilled to support the government in launching this campaign and very grateful to the government for all they have done and all they are doing to ensure a safe return to learning. Education is the most protective and nurturing force in a child's life after their family. Learning brings dignity, hope, and well-being to all children and all families. Save the Children and other development partners are committed to ensuring all children complete a quality and relevant basic education. Education is a child's right, a right of all children, no matter their circumstance, no matter if you had had a baby while out of school, no matter if you use a wheelchair to move around your town, no matter if you are working with your mom in the market. Now is your time to go back to school, to return to learning. So you are thinking, that is nice. It's a good news story about back to school, nice posters, radio announcements. But this is not enough to bring every child back to school safely. This is your time as parents, as community, and as children yourself to help the government and the Ministry of Education get all children back to school safely. So, as parents and caregivers, what can you do today? First, ensure your child is enrolled in school. Second, pledge to help the school maintain the COVID-safe standard operating procedures. Help your school ensure that all children and teachers can wear a mask. Ensure that there is soap and water to wash hands. You as parents can do that. For your neighbors whose children are working, help and support these families so they too can return to school. No child should stay at home or run a business while their friends are at school. Support pregnant girls and child mothers to get back to school. The Ministry of Education's guidelines on teenage pregnancies provide for support to teen mothers to return to school. If your child is disabled or your neighbor's child is disabled, you can help that child go back to school and help the school accommodate that child. Listen to children and teachers. Discuss together their worries. Encourage them to return to school. Help your child's teacher get a vaccine. Help them to learn to wear a mask correctly. The government is working through the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education and Sports to ensure a strong COVID surveillance system in schools. Support them in ensuring that all children and teachers who are sick at home stay at home, and if they have symptoms, please be sure to report. The government and partners are also working to ensure that schools can ensure remedial and catch-up programs to ensure that all children can recover lost learning and can advance to the next level. Talk to your child about what they are learning and where they need help. The government and partners are also working to implement the national guidelines on the prevention and management of teenage pregnancies in schools so that pregnant girls and teen mothers can be supported to resume school and continue learning. Do your part in supporting this policy. We all have a part to play. Let us support one another for the future of Ugandan children and the future of the country. This is where I get a little emotional, sorry. Finally, I want to end by talking with the children. We are so happy and excited for you today and know that you are too. You are getting an opportunity to gain skills and knowledge that will lead you to success and happiness for your family and your country. So what can you do? First of all, go to school. Take a friend to school with you. Tell your parents and caregivers how much you love school and learning. Help find your friends and neighbors who are working in the market, who may have a disability and cannot walk to school, or who may have a new baby at home. Help them find a way back to school. When you get home from school today, or tomorrow, or next week, tell your parents about your lessons and what you have learned. Most of all, have fun, wear a mask, respect and listen to your teacher, and finally, tell your teacher and parents, thank you for helping you go back to school.
It's a great pleasure this morning to stand before you on behalf of the education sector. And we are so excited this morning to have this press conference and specifically to address and to launch officially the Go Back to School campaign. The main message for today is that all children, children with disabilities, children currently in employment, children in the refugees camps must return to school, and they must return now. In a special way, we want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for the wise guidance for reopening of the schools in a safe and sustainable manner. And the Ministry of Education and Sport specifically, we are appreciative to the First Lady, the Minister of Education and Sports, for providing the ongoing support, the guidance to schools in order to prepare accordingly. We are grateful to Mama for supporting the formation and training of the school-based COVID response committees, for the opening up safe for development partners to support school reopening and continuity of learning. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Education and Sports, with support from our key partner, Save the Children, is launching a countrywide communications and media campaign to publicize the government announcement dates for school reopening and to impress the importance to caregivers of sending their children back to school. In particular, this is going to be a 1-month campaign, and it will target the return to school for the most vulnerable children, like the children with disability and those that have begun work during this COVID pandemic period when schools were closed. There will be messages on selected television and radio stations. We're going to have posters. We're going to have online channels like community radios and other means of communication. We all know the importance of education. Education is a critical protective force which brings dignity, hope, and well-being to our children, especially those affected by crisis. We therefore call upon all our parents, all our caregivers, all our guardians to safely take all the children back to school. And together, let us work towards preventing future learning interruptions. Let us all aim at sustainability of the schools as they reopen. And importantly, drop out for the most vulnerable learners. As we all know, COVID pandemic has created a lot of crises globally in education. In 2020 alone, over 1.6 billion children, which is over 90% of the world's school-going girls and boys, showed their education interrupted for months and months when the schools were closed. Here in Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, according to the National Children Helpline, 116 cases of violence against children increased during the last 2 lockdowns. For instance, from April to September 2020, cases of violence against children increased from 2,400 to 5,000 cases. This is as reported by the National Child Helpline. And this is a big concern for you and me. This week, the government of Uganda has reopened schools, and now all learning institutions in Uganda are reopened. This has been close to 2 years closed. Every child has the right to education, and the government of Uganda has pledged to uphold the right of the children in education through Article 28 and Article 29 of the Convention on Rights of the Child. Education and learning are core. They are core to employing individuals and bringing hope and dignity in our community and in our families, as well as greater well-being. And therefore, quality and safe learning is the #1 protective force for children and their family, as well as caregivers. Today, as we launch this Go Back to School campaign, what do we expect from our parents, from caregivers? We are requesting that all caregivers must take all children back to school. They need to find alternatives so that children who have been involved in work for pay, can return to school and learn. No child should stay at home, or no child should continue to be involved in running a business while others are at school. We are also requesting the parents, the guardians, to be involved in children's learning. They should support them to catch up the lost time. Failure to abide by these guidelines, we will take action for the guardians and the parents, and we will come for them. What is our expectation for the teachers? The teachers should help the learners to catch up on the lost time. And the teachers, urgently, we are requesting them to support the vulnerable children to return to school and stay at school and to continue to learn. And we are requesting the teachers to report any suspected cases of students with symptoms of COVID and to follow the SOPs. Provide counseling to the students to help them to resume school life. Also, the parents equally should counsel the children. Finally, as government of Uganda, We want to reiterate our full commitment, to support our children while at school and to ensure safe back to school and continuity of learning for all children. We commit as government for transition of all children back to school in a safe manner and to prioritize the prevention of learning, interruption, and dropout for the most vulnerable learners. As government, we also pledge to employ remedial programs such as catch-up to clubs to ensure that children can recover lost learning time and to ensure that children do not drop out of education. We also want to pledge that we will implement the national guidelines on prevention and management of teenage pregnancy in school premises. And we also commit to provide guidelines and sensitization on various media platforms nationwide so that girls who are pregnant, those who are pregnant can be supported to resume school after delivery once they are ready. I take the honor to thank you, and I say all this for God and my country. I now take the opportunity, together with Save the Children, I take the